Question number 12, Ron Mark.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Prime Minister and asks, does he stand by all his statements?
The Honourable Bill English on behalf of the Prime Minister.
On behalf of the Prime Minister, yes, in the context in which they are made.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Ron Mark.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To the Prime Minister, does he stand by his statement he made during the election last year, which said, selling lots and lots of land to China I don't think would actually deliver massive amounts of benefit to New Zealand, end of quote. If so, why did it take him 12 months to reject the Shanghai Penjing offer to purchase Lochinvar?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, in answer to the first question, yes. In answer to the second question, the member should look at the Overseas Investment Act, which makes it very clear that relevant ministers make a decision about the land sale, exercising statutory responsibilities, and in order to approve or otherwise a sale, they have to look at the evidence around, I think, 23 separate tests. That's how the decision is made. The Prime Minister doesn't make those decisions.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Ron Mark.
To the Prime Minister, given that he said when he was gathering votes in the election, quote, selling lots and lots of land to China I don't think would actually deliver massive amounts of benefit to New Zealand, why has the government signed off on 50 land sales to foreign buyers in the last 6 months?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, in the first place, my understanding of it, to the extent one can know from approvals, is that the number of sales to people with Chinese-sounding names is probably pretty low. The other ones have been signed off because they passed the tests laid out in the Act, which was written and voted for by New Zealand First. And if they don't like the consequences of the Act they passed when they were in government, then they, I suppose, should try and win an election to change it.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Ron Mark.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To the Prime Minister, if there is no substantial benefit in selling Lochinvar to a foreign company, where is the substantial benefit in the government allowing the sale of our largest beef exporter, or half of Silver Fern Farms, to a foreign company, or for that matter, the Penny Farms in Northland?
The Honourable Bill English on behalf of the Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, the Overseas Investment Act doesn't work on political slogans. It works by laying out 23 tests for sensitive land, and those have to be applied consistently to the individual proposal. These are two quite different transactions. You wouldn't want to prejudge how they'll be dealt with, but the business tests for businesses are different than the tests for sensitive land, and that is what was voted into the law by New Zealand First when it was in government and wrote the Act we are now applying.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Ron Mark.
If this government is genuinely working for New Zealanders, as it said it was during the election, why has it rubber-stamped the sale of 50 farms over the last 6 months, allowed farm sales which have effectively jacked up the price of New Zealand land, such that New Zealand young farmers have been priced out of the market? Jerry.
The Honourable Bill English on behalf of the Prime Minister.
Well, Mr Speaker, with respect to jacking up the price, I'm not sure of the member's familiarity with land transactions, but if the price is higher, it's being paid to a New Zealander. And he may be opposed to New Zealanders getting a fair price for their farms, but the law that his party wrote says that if the particular transaction meets all 23 tests, then it is a legal and permissible transaction. We are administering law written by New Zealand First.
Supplementary question, Grant Robertson.
Does he stand by his statement that, in regard to the Lochinvar station sale, that it would be a dangerous position to prejudge the decision and that could be reviewed by the courts? And if so, is he concerned by the statement by the Honourable Bill English on September the 6th, 2014, in relation to Lochinvar station, quote, "We will not block that sale"?
The Honourable Bill English on behalf of the Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, no, not at all, because we didn't block the sale because the government can't block the sale. What it does is two specific ministers assess the proposition against the 23 tests laid out in the Overseas Investment Act. That's how the decision gets made. If we were asked to, quote, block the sale, we made it clear there would not be a political decision, as the Labor Party would, to refuse to sell land to people with Chinese-sounding names, because we're not xenophobic like the Labor Party.
Order. That concludes questions for oral answer. Point of order, Richard Possum.
Mr Speaker, if a member raises a point of order in this House which contains an assertion, and that assertion...
Sorry, order, I just can't hear the member. Could he...
If a member raises a point of order which contains an assertion, and that assertion leads yourself to pass a ruling based on that assertion, and that assertion can then subsequently be proven to be incorrect, will you, sir, act false to take action against that member?
I'll hear from the Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Mr Speaker, it's not hard to work out what this is all about, and I would suggest that the member asking for the clarification from the Speaker rather himself takes out his standing orders and goes to 359 to find that the person who was, I think, the person seeking a clarification over a matter, etc., does have some remedy for his concerns.
And from my point of view, I certainly, as I've said many times on this House, I go back and examine the way the proceedings have gone. I acknowledge to this House that I sometimes make decisions that in hindsight I might not have wanted to make. But however, they've made, and as I said earlier, when I make a decision, members may not have to like it, but they have to accept it. I'll assure the member I'll go back and have a look at the Hansard today. I call on Government Order of the Day.